Words of Sri Aurobindo from the book The Mother, Part 2, Letters on the Mother by Our Lord, Chapter 8, Sadhana through Work for the Mother, page 203. At first, one must put one's will in union with the mother's will, knowing that it is an instrument only and that it is the mother's will behind that alone can give the result. Afterwards, when one becomes conscious fully of the mother's force working within, then the personal will is replaced by the divine. Date 15th July 1935. Sri Aurobindo continues to say, they should be not only a general attitude, but each work should be offered to the mother so as to keep the attitude a living one all the time. There should be at the time of work no meditation, for that would withdraw the attention from the work, but there should be the constant memory of the one to whom you offer it. This is only a first process, for when you can have constantly the feeling of a calm being within, concentrated in the sense of the divine presence, while the surface mind does the work, or when you can begin to feel always that it is the mother's force that is doing the work and you are only a channel or an instrument, then in place of memory, they will have begun the automatic constant realization of yoga, divine union in works. Everybody is in the mother, but one must become conscious of that, not of the work only. Date 1st April 1935. Question: is it true that one should feel that it is the divine presence which moves one and does everything for one? Would it be possible to feel it without a union with the Divine Mother? Sri Aurobindo says for this question, no, that is itself a union with her. To feel the divine presence above, in you, and moving you. Date 14th July 1933. Next question. Today, I felt as if someone else than myself was carrying out my actions. Of course, I was there, but in the background. Was it not the mother's force trying to take me into itself integrally? Sri Aurobindo says it's too much to say that. What you say amounts only to some glimpse of the cosmic force behind all the actions. Date 2nd June 1934. How can the will be made one with the mother's will? Sri Aurobindo says the will can be made one with the mother's by establishing a constant contact of the consciousness with hers. Date 24th June 1933. Question: what is meant by establishing a constant contact of the consciousness with the mother's, which you say is necessary for union with her will? Does it mean mental contact or psychic? Sri Aurobindo says it means the whole, with the psychic as the base. Date 25th June 1933. Next question. My psychological analysis indicates that it is not always possible for us sadhaks to let the mother work in us spontaneously, for often something in us keeps off and closes the doors against her. I think the best course would be to develop our willpower so that something might be always there to help us reopen the doors. I mean, here, the will not of the vital or mental kind, but the true willpower. Would you kindly enlighten me as to how to develop it? Sri Aurobindo says for this, the only way to do it is, first point, to become aware of a conscious force behind that uses the mind, etc. Second, to learn by practice to direct that force towards its object. I do not suppose you will find it easy to do either of these things at once. One must first learn to live more deeply in the inner consciousness than you have done hitherto. Date 16th July 1934. Conditions for following the mother's will. Sri Aurobindo has given us some golden rules here to follow the mother's will. Sri Aurobindo says the conditions for following the mother's will are to turn to her for light and truth and strength and aspire that no other force shall influence or lead you, to make no demands or conditions in the vital, to keep a quiet mind ready to receive the truth, but not insisting on its own ideas and formations. Finally, to keep the psychic awake and in front, so that you may be in a constant contact and know truly what her will is. For the mind and vital can mistake other impulsions and suggestions for the divine will, but the psychic, once awakened, makes no mistake. A perfect perfection is only possible after supramentalization, but a relative good working is possible on the lower planes if one is in contact with the divine and careful, vigilant, and conscious in mind and vital and body. That is a condition, besides, which is preparatory and almost indispensable for the supreme liberation. Next topic, the basis of divine life. To be entirely sincere means to desire the divine truth only, to surrender yourself more and more to the Divine Mother, to reject all personal demand and desire other than this one aspiration, to offer every action in life to the Divine and do it as a work given without bringing in the ego. This is the basis of the divine life. One cannot become altogether this at once, but if one aspires at all times and calls in always the aid of the divine Shakti with a true heart and straightforward will, one grows more and more into this consciousness. Next topic, true consciousness of Karma Yoga. Sri Aurobindo says he should carry on his work and do all things else in the right consciousness, offering all he does to the Mother and keeping in inner touch with her. All work done in that spirit and with that consciousness becomes Karma Yoga and can be regarded as part of his sadhana. What you received and kept in the work is indeed the true basic consciousness of Karma Yoga, the calm consciousness from above, supporting and the strength from above doing the work, with that the bhakti which feels it to be the mother's consciousness present and working. You know now by experience what is the secret of Karma Yoga. Date 15 September 1936. Next topic, right attitude in work. Not only in your inward concentration, says Sri Aurobindo, not only in your inward concentration, but in your outward acts and movements, you must take the right attitude. If you do that and put everything under the mother's guidance, you will find that difficulties begin to diminish or are as much more easily got over and things become steadily smoother. In your work and acts, you must do the same as in your concentration. Open to the mother, put them under her guidance, call in the peace, the supporting power, the protection, and in order that they may work, reject all wrong influences that might come in their way by creating wrong, careless, or unconscious movements. Follow this principle, and your whole being will become one under one rule in the peace and sheltering power and light.